Good afternoon, one and all the participants in this special session today, organized by Government of Gujarat, in IHUB, Department of Higher and Technical Education. It is a privilege to welcome our keynote speakers, Padma Shri P.S. Goyal sir. We have Mr. M. Nagarajan, Commissioner of Higher Education, Government of Gujarat, who happens to be the Honorary Executive Director of Gujarat Student Startup and Innovation Hub. We also have Dr. Vipin Kumar, who is the Chief Innovation Officer of NIF and a long-standing stalwart in the grassroots innovation movement in this country. It is a privilege to welcome you all to this special webinar on behalf of IHUB and Government of Gujarat. This session is being broadcasted at the Facebook page of IHUB, NIF, and all universities in Gujarat. I'm sure thousands of students, innovators, and entrepreneurs will get a first-hand insights about how innovation ecosystem has evolved and how National Innovation Foundation is playing a capstone role in getting this movement forward. And it will also share about how Gujarat government and others can create synergized efforts to co-create the better tomorrow. Before I formally introduce our keynote speaker, P.S. Goyal ji, I would like to request Sri M. Nagarajan, Commissioner Higher Education, Government of Gujarat, to share his welcome address.
Thank you. I am indeed taking great pleasure in welcoming Dr. P.S. Goyal Saab, who is currently Chairman of National Innovation Foundation. Today, our purpose of having him is not just because he is in the National Innovation Foundation. He has a very illustrious career as an Indian space scientist, and he was also former secretary in the Department of Ocean Development. And he has done tremendous contribution for science and technology in the country. And today he is going to talk about a very interesting topic of how everyone can be an innovator. So, being an innovator is not constrained to any particular field, not constrained to any particular territory or any race or any area. In fact, anyone can be an innovator. That is a very inspiring topic. It is very important for all of us because under the Student Startup and Innovation Policy, IHUB is trying to expedite and enable the journey of idea to product, and then mind to market. The journey of idea in the mind to actually a market, to reaching the market. This journey of student, how we can enable within the college is very, very important, because college provides the sandbox environment where the student can try on his ideas, take his risk on his ideas without the fear of failure, where his mentors, his teachers, and other people like Hiranmay and his team and myself included are available to guide them, support them, and mentor them in their journey. And it is very much needed for Atmanirbhar Bharat, because we want our youth to work on local solutions for local problems. And Indian vision of startup and value-based entrepreneurship is what is the need of the hour to build Atmanirbhar Bharat. And IHUB, through its efforts under Student Startup and Innovation Policy, which is promoted by the Education Department, Government of Gujarat, we are now present in each and every taluka of Gujarat. Each and every college and its student are connected to us in one way or the other in this great innovation campaign that we are started here. And I am glad that National Innovation Foundation, who are the pioneers of grassroots innovation, of even non-formal innovation, we can say, has been brought into the mainstream thought process. So we all need to take a lot of inspiration from such presence today. I also welcome Mr. Vipin Kumar, who is the Chief Innovation Officer at NIF. I extend a very warm welcome to both the dignitaries on behalf of Education Department for joining us today, and look forward to very enlightening thoughts and insights from Goyal sir. Thank you very much, sir.
So much, Nagarajan sir, for sharing the kind words. In fact, in the interest of the audience, I would like to highlight a few things which NIF has inspired us to do. Gujarat is the only state where grassroots innovators scouted by NIF are considered as adjunct faculty members of the state universities. And similarly, we have also funded students, innovators through Student Startup and Innovation Policy who want to work on the innovations of grassroots innovators and are value to them. So this has been quite encouraging between the formal and informal sectors, and I'm thrilled to see that I have been a part of the journey both sides, and this ecosystem has evolved significantly in last couple of years. At this outset, I would like to introduce P.S. Goelji, the chairperson of NIF, who is also the former secretary, Ministry of Earth Science, Government of India. He is in Padma Shri and is an honorary distinguished professor at ISRO headquarters, honorary visiting professor at National Institute of Advanced Studies, INA, Satish Dhawan Chair of Engineering Eminence, and also Chairman Governing Body of National Innovation Foundation. He is chairing Technology Research Board, ERB, at Ministry of Earth Science, Chairman Research Council, NGRI, CSIR, Chairman Research Advisory Committee, NIOIT, MOES, and member of Governing Council of NIOT. He is the chairman, Comprehensive Technical Review Committee, CUST program, and chairing Apex Committee for Planning Communication, Remote Sensing and Navigation Satellite of ISRO, and chairing the Navigation, Guiding and Control Committee of Chandrayaan-2, which is one of the most ambitious projects of Government of India, including Gaganyaan. He received several other awards, including the Distinguished Science Award from ISRO and Lifetime Achievement Award from Indian National Academy of Engineers. Govinji, it is a sheer privilege to have you today, and all our listeners, innovators, entrepreneurs, the session who are attending various universities. Certainly, their hypothesis that anybody could be innovator will be more strengthened during this talk, and I'm sure all of the stakeholders in the Gujarat innovation and startup ecosystem will learn a lot and take huge inspiration from you. Having said that, may I now request P.S. Goelji to guide us.
Thank you very much, Sri Harinbhai Mehta ji, CEO of iHub. I am delighted that Mr. Natarajan is there, Commissioner of the Gujarat government. I am happy that I am talking to the students of the startups of the and innovation club of the Gujarat. My dear students, which are connected to the web and professors and all the colleagues, and also my colleague Dr. Vipin Kumar is there to support me. Well, thank you very much for this kind invitation for this talk, and it's really a privilege to talk to so many students in such a body. I'll try to do a job of trying to give a feeling that what innovation means to this country and what responsibility we all have. In terms of starting the talk, my first thing is that all of us have an innovator with us. It's only a question of exporting ourselves, and we'll come back to more details. But the fact is that we are almost 1.38 billion minds. Actually, there is a hidden innovator in each of us. We have not realized that. But why it is not coming is the question of choices we have between what we deal with day-to-day life, whether we are happy with the life or we want to make a difference. That's what counts. Whether we want to have a status quo or we want to really bring some kind of disruptions, which all innovators do in some way or the other. This could be very small level or big level, that's a separate issue. But what important is that we need to bring a difference. And that means we are really looking for some challenges. Just to give you the impression that innovation is not a new knowledge. It is not a new science or new technology, but it's a new idea or a new product we visualize in our mind based on the existing knowledge of science or existing knowledge of technology. What it involves? It actually involves connecting two different domains or maybe multiple domains, and that multiple domains connected could be some part of physics, some part of chemistry, some part of engineering, or within physics, many things coming together, whether you are talking of a LED or we are bringing something else with this magnetic force, bringing them together and then coming up either a non-existing product or a solution, or even existing, whether we are improving it in terms of functionality. Means you take a start, whether it's a car or a scooter or a toy. whether we are able to improve its functionality or performance or even looks, because that matters a lot now, or reduce cost. So if we are able to do even one of these four things, that means we are really talking of a new innovation. It's more of lateral thinking. Lateral thinking, what I mean is that you are really trying to think in a multiple domains together, and rather than a deeper thinking, not like a scientist. So that's what I wanted to make communicate to you, that each one of us, everybody can be a scientist, cannot be a scientist, but everybody can be an innovator. And when we just say successful innovators today, in terms of making money, you take Facebook, you take Google, you take Amazon, you take Apple, these companies are really dealing in trillions of dollars. None of them is really has done any deep R&D. In fact, the Facebook CEO is very young boy, and he is created such a big thing which is making so much name. It's basically existing technology. It was just the IT technology or the connectivity or the internet, and making use of that, coming with a new idea of connecting people. So this is the strength of the innovation. Similarly, when we talk of in our own setup, there are many, but we are going back to our own father of the nation. His idea was to get freedom through non-violence. It was totally independent thinking. Non-violence existed, and everyone wanted to have independent. But the connect which he brought out, or our own Mr. Kurian, when I said it because particularly Gujarat, in Anand, he made a revolution, and actually that has impacted whole country. It's not just Anand alone. That particular movement has really affected. And similarly, there are many initiatives here. You can see Infosys, all these people, they have taken the existing knowledge. In fact, if you hear Nayamurthy, sometimes he uses a word, phrase that I don't need rocket science. What he means is that he's not depending on something very fundamental in terms of the either science or engineering, but connecting that, making use of the existing knowledge, he has created such a big setup, Infosys or TCS. So ultimately, it's a potential which is hidden, or we have to really bring back or make it unhide it, so that you bring a much more surface. In India also, we have not seen a change. There are a lot of people who are really becoming self-made, and particularly Gujarat is taking a lead in that. So it's not just a question of whether I have talent or not. Each one of you have talent, but it's just you're sort of creating a feeling in you that we have to do something new. That's what is important. Now, coming to a question comes to my mind: are we, or whether in past were we, an innovative society? Now, our past is very interesting. We are a only country which had a very productive land. So many rivers, and particularly along the rivers, we have so fertile land. One of the best weather in the world. We didn't have neither too cold or too hot. Hot is there, but it's something livable. We don't have to do anything to survive, and plenty of water, and at all no competition for living. And when there is no competition living, that means if your life is comfortable with simple means, you really don't have to really think of how to survive. Like if you are in a cold country, then you would worry everything. How do I survive in the winter? So you have to start different kind of innovations in terms of clothing, in terms of housing, in terms of how do I get food in the cold weather. So that problem was not there with us. And so in our core value also, we were taught a word, santosh. Be satisfied with what you have. So firstly, we didn't have to have a problem for survival. And so on top of that, this feeling that you have a santosh, you be satisfied. Now this actually is a antithesis for innovation. If I'm satisfied with what I have, then why can I be do any innovation? So actually, when we call theory of motivation, there is a very interesting phrase that the unsatisfied need is what brings towards motivation, and if you are satisfied, that is your innovation is gone. So, but here in our case, we had the santosh. So there was actually no incentive for us to becoming innovative, and that is the cause why when you really analyze our past history, that in something like 6th, 7th century, our per capita income in India was the highest in the world. And then from there, we became, you can say, slave for 1,000 years. Why? Because of this, being very comfortable and being santosh and being satisfied and being, we are also thinking that we are talking of a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and so, 1 minute, I'll call you later. So as a result, we became essentially a society where innovation was not given much importance. But however, it's changing now, because right now, if we don't innovate, there is no more the century-old India. We have to worry about the future. So now the question comes is, when we are talking recently we have really know that we have changed, we have to change, we have to survive, and without to survive itself, we have to be innovative. And once that feeling has come, then the question is coming: what is this change are coming? So when we look at that, you will find in last 6 years, on the scale of Global Innovation Index, which is not really our own, it's a universe made by as a total body at the level of UN, we have gone successively improving from 81 to 66 to 60 to 57, 52, and now 48 in 2020. That means once the awareness has come in our country, then we have to be innovative. Imagine if this awareness of being innovative had come 200 years back, probably would have got rid of Britishers much earlier. This is the thinking process. So now the thinking has come, and that shows that basic thinking in the country once has come, then we are changing. And you see, look at elsewhere also. We are among the top 3 innovative economies in this income group of so-called lower middle income group. After Vietnam, Ukraine, we have India. We are also in the top 3 innovation countries in the region, which are Central and Southeast Asia: India, Iran, and Kazakhstan. So, and India has having 6 top cities among the 100 in the world in terms of innovation. Of course, Bangalore leads that, but mainly because of the IT things. So when we look at the overall performance, in terms of the knowledge and technology output, we stand 27. Overall, in terms of the market sophistication, all that, we have come to 31. In business sophistication, we have reached 55. This is much better than what it used to be earlier. So that means we are continuously improving. Now the question comes as, innovation transform into a business enterprise? It should. If we are not doing that, then it's not a real innovation. It's only a thought. It's only an idea. Idea itself, innovative idea itself, is not sufficient. Innovation is not just idea. Innovation is a transformation of idea into a business enterprise. And let's see how we are doing that. So when you look at the ease of doing business in this country in last 6 years, particularly with this new government, with Modi ji taking a very new initiative, and it is tremendous change. And I wonder if this particular change had been proposed or put into our mind, to the mind of the Indians 100 years back, what would happen? We have gone from 2015 at the level of 142, and successively every year 16 to 130, 17 at 130, but 18 we jumped to 100, 19 we jumped to 77, and 20 we have jumped to 63. So it's a tremendous progress. What does it show? That means the innovation was there in our genes. it was not being explicit, not being exploited because of our so-called, as I said, the reasons that we had a very comfortable life and living. Now, even the stage-wise, when we say, there is a tremendous change. In fact, you will find here in top 10 states, we have Uttar Pradesh coming as number 2. Andhra coming as number 1 may not be a big surprise. But what we used to call in the 70s and 80s Bimaru, these states like Bihar or Madhya Pradesh or Uttar Pradesh, or U stand for Uttar Pradesh, used to be so-called Bimaru 6 states. And that state has come to the level of number 2. I mean, it just shows that how much potential it was there, which was not really exploited by creating the so-called ambience and so-called awareness about the innovation. Now, question is, what are the basic needs? Today, when we have innovation, what is the important? Actually, innovation by itself is, idea is good, but unless we convert into a product. In fact, we had about 2 years back, a very kind of a manthan, you can say, or the inner churning between the secretaries of the all science and technology departments. And the idea was that why is it that India is not doing the so-called science and technology impact on the country, though we have so many laboratories. And one thing that really came very clearly was that we are doing a lot of research. We are doing a lot of development. But there is a big gap between the so-called research and development to a product. And even when the product came, we could not go to the place where it actually will be selling. So if I have a product, if I am not able to connect to my marketing system, that lack was total there. In fact, science and technology departments, including my own science or ISRO, we do not know how to sell things. So these are the big gaps. So actually, this is one of these are the two things which we need to worry about, and we have to address. If we are trying to bring innovation to the country, it's not just being innovative alone. We have to connect innovation, convert into product, and also connect that in product into society. This is something very important. Now, so how do we address these in a large nation like ours? So first thing is, we have to focus on need-based innovations. Now, grassroots innovations which we are doing in our innovations NIF is only one example. Actually, we have been talking about this in terms of larger context in every field. Let's say you talk of a defense. Today, we have to run to US or France, whether in a Rafale or helicopter, that we get these things because we have to really protect our country. So there's a need, there's a capability, but there's no sort of commitment or program we have taken of that kind. It's not that we cannot do these things. So we need to really have a focus on our need-based innovations, including defense, including materials, including IT. IT is happening. IT is happening. But actually, other than IT, practically, nowhere else is happening. Then, as I said, there's a gap between the prototype and the product. And when I say product, it is not just making a product, it's making it with proper aesthetics, with proper design, which really has a quality, and also at cost. When it's surprising that, in our country, many things are coming from China, which we can do here, but our costs are very high. There are areas where we have not allowed that to happen. For example, cars. We build better cars than China and at the same cost. But simple toys. China sells much more toys in India than India sells here. So, and of course, China sells everywhere. So we need to really talk of a product manufacturing with aesthetics, with the quality, and also create a distribution system. So affordability is very important. So we have to really, these are the important things we want. Then when we are talking of innovation, we need to really, it's when you have a product, it is not just one product. Actually, you see, you buy you open a website and want to buy a computer. You get so many varieties, whatever you want to buy. So actually, when we talk of innovation, and when we have got 1.3 billion minds, we cannot say that if I'm doing it, why other person is doing it. The variability in the innovation is a part of our setup. We have to have that. Then other question is, can I make use of my existing system and for multiple use? And that's how the Jugaad came. I mean, ultimately, the Jugaad was nothing but making use of the same engine, whether you are driving a tractor or whether you are driving a pump. That's how the Jugaad came. Or you are driving a trolley. Now, many people say, Jugaad is not something very scientific. In my perception, it's the best example of innovation because it's the same engine which is run by on diesel was doing multiple things. Similarly, today you have a tractor and you are doing so many things with the tractor. Actually, people are really run the tube well also with the same engine, or tube well does even thrashing and plowing and everything. So these are the aspects which we really have to have in the innovation. In the National Innovation Foundation, because when we said we are talking a grassroots innovation, many things are coming from the minds which are not all very well educated, but still they are doing a great job. Now, there are some examples. Mr. Vipin Kumar, the director of NIF, he has given me some examples, and I thought I'll share with you. One of them is a sanitary napkin making machine. Now, Mr. Arunachanam, he is not a very high-level industrialist on all that, but he developed this idea of very affordable sanitary napkin at very low cost. And then he actually, with the help of NIF, also could do the patenting, could go to the industry, could connect to the government system. And as a result, he got a very high level of visibility. And it's a great job done by him by making just existing materials, nothing, no new science, no new engineering, but making use of the existing things, but in such a way that, with large spectrum of society, they were using cloth for that purpose, and then they are able to afford a napkin. So something like great. Similarly, we have another inventor, Mr. Malisha. He has done a tremendous job in weaving, and he has changed, particularly silk weaving. He has changed so much in difference he has made, and he's sold in large numbers. So, and again, he's a practically not a very high-level educated person, and he's seen the sitting medal from the ex-president Rashtrapati ji. Then, there's another person, Mr. Mansukh Bhai Patel. He has made a machine which is, you can say, take out the seeds of the cotton from the cotton flowers and do it so effectively. It improves the shell, the quantity of the cotton. It very clearly removes the shell, and shell is used for many other purposes. It used to be so laborious, man-oriented job. People used to do it manually. And he has done such a great difference because particularly Gujarat produces so much of cotton. How much effort manually it will go? He has done that machine, and is now is doing very good business also. Similarly, there is another person, Mr. Dhamvir Kamboj. He has developed a multi-processing machine for food processing. And again, he's another person, very little, you can say, background in terms of education, but he has done a great innovation. So there are need-based innovation people have done. Similarly, there is another person, Mansukh Bhai Prajapati ji. He made use of the special clay, and he has produced so much of variety of things, whether it's called Mitti Kool. And in Mitti Kool, he has developed so many products, which is really fantastic. In terms of, you can say, aesthetics, in terms of look. When you look at his product, you will find that it's really done so well in terms of aesthetics. Similarly, so there's girl who developed this concept of making a pot from gobar, which can be degraded later, and we very later made the use of the same thing and to make a dissolvable or perishable Ganesha idol and all that. No, it is such a good thing because you are replacing what plaster of Paris or clay, which is plaster of Paris, particularly environmental hazardous material, and tons and tons of that being put into the rivers. And now this is just taken up. So this is something need based, and it serves a larger spectrum. We need to spread some of these technologies to the country. So it has made a lot of difference. So actually, what it means that basically innovation is something which we need to bring in our everyday life, and everywhere we have to start rethink and reimagining, deviate from the business as usual, and that's where you really start challenging your existing solutions, and also start from the very fundamental of the physics. We should not forget the fundamental physics in doing these things of fundamental engineering. Once you start applying that, you will find an enormous change in our thinking processes. Similarly, when we say innovation, it doesn't require too much of money. I just gave this example we brought here because when you really talk of things like Uber or Oyo, they have really come up with these ideas that existing system you make use of, and then just connect it, make use of the IT. For example, OU rooms. They have $800 million system they have created, practically not owning anything. It's a existing owner, and he just connects it. Similarly, your Uber or Ola, they don't own those taxis. They only coordinate that, and they provide excellent service. And it's an enormous impact and creating, of course, money for themselves, but much more saving money for the country. Because you see, one car if I own, it serves me maybe 2 hours a day. And if I start making use of these services, then this car is being used maybe 20 hours a day. So that makes a difference in terms of productivity. That on the same investment, I'm able to serve so many people. So these are, you can say, the ideas of all this, where you really making use of someone else's resources, but utilizing it more effectively and making, you can say, wealth out of it. So coming to that, innovation is something which is very, very, I would say, in our genes, is there in our country. However, what we lack is translation of that into a marketable product, which is where we really need to put a focus. There's a big gap. And on top of that, even if we're a product, how do we market it? Whether you take Chinese or Singapore, see, Singapore has nothing of their own. They just survive on marketing. And this is something which we really need to fill those gaps. Yeah, just wanted to show this thing because this is something very important. You see, we have to really take some lessons from Chinese because the way they have done innovation in terms of making products and marketing. I was surprised that maximum numbers of our festival idols, whether it's Ganesha or Lakshmi, they were coming or they are coming from China. They don't use at all. They don't even believe in religion. But they make it for us and make it aesthetically very beautiful and also cheap, and then dump it in the Indian market. So we have to really think now, should it happen? We need to really worry about it and then do something about it. So we have to capture the whole market. And even our pride, our Statue of Unity, which our Prime Minister is so, I would say, fond of, and his thinking, and he has innovated. I mean, he has really given a thought to it and then developed it. When you really see all the complicated technology is actually engineering marvel. I've not seen that, so I like to see that. But I have heard a lecture on engineering aspect from LNT. It's a great engineering model, but most of the complicated things came from China. So, question is, all that is our need, but still we are not able to meet that because we we are reaching the level of 48. We need to improve further on that. So actually, basically the roadmap for innovation is that you create an ecosystem. When I said that thousands of years back we had this so-called Santosh, and 5,000 even 100 years back, or even very recently, we didn't think about creating innovation. Now we have to change, and that change is very important. That change is important not from the student level, but from the childhood itself. A very young child has to think that I should, when I come. I remember from our mythology, somewhere someone said that everyone is born with a purpose, and once the purpose is served, then he is probably it's time to go. So the question is, the child has to think that I have come for a purpose, and that purpose one has to search right in the beginning. So that the day our children start thinking that purpose, look, let me do something new. That is creating the ecosystem in the country, and that each one of us has to do that. And once we have that, then you will get some idea. That idea you have to really convert into a product or into some kind of a system. And for that, you need to really connect yourself, not an individual, to a system or to an industry, or to, if you are talking of a new, let's say, business, then you have to connect to a business. So it depends on that, what we are really thinking. And then for that you need incubators, you need various kind of support systems, you need training. And this is what we really are creating now. And this is happening, as I said, only last few years. But things are changing, and you have a lot of education and training centers available in the country. But probably for a country of our size, we need to do more. Now, what are the present challenges? Our micro, small, medium scale industry is really looking for jobs. They really have capacity, but they don't know what to do. On one side, we say they have got innovations. On the other side, there is SME, MSME, and there is no connect. So we need to really connect them together. Sometimes we need to bring a lot of skills. For example, when we are talking today, any innovation will involve a lot of IT, a lot of electronics. In fact, like suppose that we are talking of a car in 1950s, 1960s, 1970s. 95% was of mechanical engineering, very little electronics. Today, when we are talking of either a, let's say, electric car, or we are talking even the so-called auto self-driving car. In a self-driving car, the cost of IT and electronics will be probably 80 to 85%. Only 15% will be mechanical. So things are changing. That means we need to really bring new skills sets to our workforce. IT is, of course, one of the most important thing, but whether it's electronics, whether within IT, we are not talking about machine learning, we are talking of automatic decision making. So all that is happening. And unless we really continue to develop the skills, it's not going to really, we can't be really innovative, because someone else will do it much faster than us. So if we are really have to do that for a long term, we need to be creating ourselves and developing. So a question now comes is, how can younger entrepreneurs can be benefited from, let's say, our National Innovation Foundation? In fact, foundation is always trying to connect to the youngsters. In fact, just before this talk, our director was briefing us that in the COVID period, they have connected themselves in terms of asking for innovation from children from practically 80% of the schools in the country. And they have received 6.5 lakhs ideas from children about innovation. That means minimum each school, even if 10 children were thinking, out of which one has come, because there's a lot of screening takes place even at the school level. So that means 65 lakhs children, we have really connected that they have to do something innovative. But the thought itself is something very important. So there is a lot of connectivity which we can provide of this kind. Finally, I just wanted to give you this thought that there is a need to have a not only science and technology, but now we are changing our phrase. In fact, I remember I was reviewing IIT Delhi some about I think 5-6 years back as a review committee, and we made there a sort of slogan that science, technology, and innovation is no more we are teaching only the engineering. Is earlier it used to be teaching, then we added research and development. Now we are telling research, development, and innovation. So innovation has to be part of our overall thinking process. So if we have to create innovative India, what is needed? Life as usual, which used to be there, is not acceptable. We have to make a change. My life, I had to make some change, maybe small or big, it doesn't matter. I'll give you a very small story, which is, I think, worth looking at it, or thinking about it. I saw a small documentary. Documentary is about a writer. He's sitting on the seashore, just watching the waves and looking for some new ideas to write a story. And he sees one young man is coming along the shore. He's picking up something from the shore and throwing back into the ocean. And he's doing continuously every step. He does stop, picks up something. This writer becomes curious. He said whether there's something for him to really get inspiration from. After some next day again he goes at the same time. Again the story repeats. His person picks up something. He was more curious. Third day he couldn't stop. He just went to him and asked, "Young man, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm throwing this jellyfish back to the ocean. Otherwise, you'll die." This man was a knowledgeable person, writer. He said, India has got 7,500 kilometers of coast. And if you are throwing on this 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, what difference does it make to the ocean or to this? He didn't answer. The young man didn't answer. He walked. He picked up the next one, threw into the ocean and said, it made a difference to that one. So the question is, when we are talking about making a difference, is a difference, even a small difference is really important. It's not big or very big. Even a very small difference we make in life, that is important. And that is essentially essence of Atma Bharat mission. Innovation is the key to the very existence. If we have to survive as a nation, whether it's strong or not, but as a nation also we have to survive. Innovation is the key. Of course, that would be whether we are talking agriculture, whether we are talking of engineering, whether we are talking of defense, everywhere. But innovation is the key. So we need a cultural transformation, an impatient and unsatisfied youth. And the so-called Santosh is not the thing for us. We have to throw it. It encompasses each and every dimension where everyone is working with security, business, education, or services. It encompasses every one of us, every one of you. So innovation hoga to India jitega, whether it's China or someone else. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Goelji, for this passionate and power-pumped talk and also motivation. With your permission, should we take a couple of questions from the audience?
Sure.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we are all proud the way National Innovation Foundation has built the innovation ecosystem in the country, and also it is a benchmark for global innovation ecosystems, because not in many countries grassroots innovation is considered as a mainstream agenda of innovation ecosystem. So here is a question I can see from a couple of universities: how the universities can co-create with NIF to better engage with grassroots innovators, and what are the kind of role? We have 80 plus universities and 5,000 colleges in the higher education department. How they can better engage and leverage the NIF efforts to further strengthen the movement?
Well, See, NIF is a very small unit. Uh, Unfortunately, our manpower is also very small, so it's we don't have a capacity really to involve each and every one. But for example, when we are engaging students with young students with respect to our this program, which I briefed earlier, that we have approved, we have got 6.5 lakhs of entries from the various school level. Similarly, we have programs at a higher level also, where even a higher level education children can really send their ideas for innovation, and we really give awards and all that. So one way is recognizing. So that process will continues and will continue. That's no issue. But connecting to each university, we are very open. We are going to open our website with all our database innovations to everyone, including education universities, so that the universities and small scale industry, etc., they can take advantage of our all the work done, and then based on that, they can really, you can say, get benefited, and then we can also help in terms of guiding them. See, our large amount of our effort is going nurturing those grassroots innovators. We recognize them, we give them counseling, give them help in terms of patenting, we can help in terms of connecting to the industry, all that we are doing. Now, universities by themselves, they are highly enabled bodies. So if they are looking for ideas, they're always open, and we are going to, once our the website is created, and it's already created, we have to inaugurate it. Once it inaugurate, it will be available for everyone to have a look at it.
Thank you so much for sharing these valuable suggestions. Sir, one important thing that the Department of Education is now driving about intellectual property right. And when we look up to institutions who have done commendable work, NIF is one of the leading institutions who have unique, which actually has a unique model of protecting intellectual property right in the name of innovator. And as far as the record is concerned, if I'm not wrong, over 1,000 IP have been filed through NIF. And recently, we also created a guideline for all universities in the state for protecting intellectual property right and taking it forward. Would you a little bit highlight about the efforts at NIF on intellectual property regime?
So, as I said, our main activity is to help the innovators in all respect in terms of nurturing. IPR is one of them. So, because you see, innovator, if he is, where from the recognition comes from him, it comes from only intellectual property. So, this is a part of our activity, you can say, to help the innovator. Now, in that process, if someone wants to really get any exposure, I'm sure Mr. Vipin Kumar will be very happy to really give an exposure further. But we are essentially doing this for the sake of the innovators. We are actually committed to the innovators, grassroots innovators, which are coming. As I said, many of them are not even illiterate. They have done their very fantastic work, but they really don't have access to any of these tools. So our main job is to help those people.
Wonderful, sir. As you rightly mentioned, we have Dr. Vipin Kumar with us. Vipinji, one question that I put from the audience from Facebook Live. NIF created one of the first Fab Lab of the country to help innovators to fabricate prototypes and design. Would you like to little bit highlight about how do we do that process? How these Fab Lab and entire support system is very important for innovators?
Yeah, Hiranmay, we have set up the Fab Lab with the support of Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and our aim was not to have a big facility, but our aim was to have a facility which could be utilized by the people, and they could be able to convert their ideas into the prototypes. And the purpose here was, many times the innovators are not satisfied what the professionals have done. So we thought that some facilities could be developed where the innovators and the engineers could work together and do the work of their satisfaction. In addition to this Fab Lab, we have set up community workshops, and not one or two, in fact, around more than 65 community workshops we have set up at the place of innovators, and the purpose was that the people of that area, if they want to do some experimentation, they can go to those community workshops and can do a basic work. And we connected those community workshops to the grids grassroots innovation design studios in different academic institutions where we have supported. And finally, if it is developed up to certain stage, then they can come and work in the fab lab. But with the support of sir and DST secretary is also very keen that we could have a facility of rapid fabrication and pilot manufacturing, because that is the gap or in the society. Only you can develop a technology at laboratory level, and if you want to go to the fabricator, they want that to give me the order of 100 or 200 or 1000 pieces, then only I'll manufacture. So most of the innovation die because of that, and really, in fact, in 1 or 2 years, because of the corona, it may get delayed. Uh, but either this year or maximum by next year, we would have a very good facility for rapid fabrication and pilot manufacturing, so that the innovators of from grassroots, and we want to open it for the MSME and from other also, so that the facility could be utilized and it would be a sustainable model actually.
Wonderful, sir. I think this is going to be a very good tool because, Goel sir, what we do in Gujarat government is we have a policy called Student Startup and Innovation Policy, in which we give 2 lakhs rupees to 5 lakhs rupees kind of grant to 1,000 innovators every year. And we just help them to realize their idea to a prototype. And once they come back with a prototype, which is a demonstrable prototype, then we also give them up to 20 lakhs of grant. So typically what we see is we get around 10,000 application every year. We fund around 800, 900 teams every year, and out of which around 300 odd build their prototype at the end of the day. And hearing the inspiration of NIF, of Fab Lab movement and others, including MSME connections, that really plays a very, very critical role. In fact, last year before COVID, we took some of these innovators to visit that lab at Amrapur and even the institutions around the Gandhinagar region, so that they get an idea. Sometimes these are not only instruments, but the mindset really matters, because most of our engineering colleges, they are not ill-equipped. They have the infra, they have the machines, but how do you really create a culture which NIF has created is an important thing. Sir, one more thing again, Bipinji, is something that audience would be of more interest if you could little highlight about this micro venture innovation fund. How do you really fund innovators, or how do you really support innovators to a level? Maybe the restriction will be to grassroots innovators, but how do you really financially enable them?
See, Micro Venture Innovation Fund ended last year. It is not now, with NIF. So it was a fund given by SIDBI, and in which we can support the highly risky projects. So it was a risk fund, but now we have another window, which is a technology business incubator, and we are supporting, through value addition research and development or awareness building under, business development areas. So that fund at this time is not there with NIF, in fact, but it has helped around 127 innovators, from throughout country, and many of them are successful entrepreneurs today. So those sort of risk funds are really needed, in fact, and but we still have the support from different windows to for the grassroots innovators and school students.
Wonderful. One question I can pick from the audience again is, as you mentioned, the mandate of NIF is now being broadened. Even school children and MSME and others are taking benefit. So somebody is saying that if I have an idea, can I go and apply at NIF incubator, and whom to contact?
Well, contact is already available at Vipin Kumar. As I said, we support mostly the innovations which are from the grassroots. Also, we are expanding our scope. I hope we'll get more money also from the Ministry of Science and Technology to do that, where we like to really support even innovations coming from students or from other sectors of the society, where it is useful for the country. So we have already in the process of expanding our scope. And as far as our relationship with the iHub is concerned, you are very much welcome to really make use of our Fab Lab, or we are expanding it now. We have put it in the new building. And in fact, we would like to have more collaboration with you so that we can even provide more facilities in this Fab Lab, more incubation from person from which you have. So we can think of actually there are a lot of enormous, you can say, possibilities we can think of working together.
Thank you, sir. It was really be helpful. And one last suggestion come question I can say is very interesting. I think between you both can address. Somebody is saying that the grassroots innovation process and culture is very important, but nobody teaches, nobody guides them about how do you really imbibe that culture. So can NIF guide or train some of the faculty members virtually so that they can also empower grassroots innovators in their vicinity? The question is from Bhavnagar. So if they can also help innovators in their regions.
See, there are two different things. One is innovations are happening. We need to spot them. We need to encourage them, convert those so-called innovations into a really products. So this is one part which NIF is doing. But these innovations are happening at the grassroots level. They get inspired by themselves, whether they had a hard need felt, or they were innovative minds. They were not had a chance to go to university or chance to go to the R&D institutions, but within their own setup, whether it's a farmer or whether it's a carpenter, they have done that. Our focus has been largely on these people. So that means innovative mind was there. We are only trying to pick them up, recognize them, give them sufficient training in terms of for help, like as I said, IPR or getting into a market or getting into industry. We are doing hand holding. So there we are only trying to, you can say, locate the innovator, grassroots innovator. In grassroots innovator, when you say, okay, can we nurture? See, the nurturing comes only from where we have the reach. We have a limited reach today. We don't have a reach to a village to every child to say that you become innovator. But what we are doing, we are really getting to the schools, because ultimately the children are coming to schools now. So as I said, this program where we have got 6.5 lakhs entries, this is actually nurturing, but this can be grassroots. The child who is doing this, thinking this, he can be a farmer tomorrow, or he can be an engineer in ISRO. We don't know. But we are trying to do culture at the very basic level, school level. Now that will nurture grassroots innovation also, but that will nurture also innovation at the highest level of science and technology. At the school level, I don't know what the child will become, but we are trying to create this culture. I hope this answers you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Bipinji, one question Ms. Kavita is asking from Kolar. She says, I have a question. If a common man has an idea, how can it be taken forward with the help of NIF? And second, I'm a teacher, so how can I help?
Hiranmaji, you are aware that if a common man has the ideas, he can connect it to NIF, by any way, any means, either through the post or info@nifindia.org. She can write the mail, or she can write to me also, vipin@nifindia.org. And as a teacher, she can be involved, in fact, in validation of innovators technology. Sometimes we need the help of professionals in verification and documentation of the technology, in fact, after scouting. So she can be helpful in many ways, depending on the the experience or her expertise.
Thank you so much, sir. In fact, I take a couple of questions. We have not many questions, but what I will do is, in the interest of time, I will curate them in a page, and I will send them to NIF, and maybe you can write to them later on. And it is very engaging to see people from across the country getting curious about how they can join with the innovation movement of NIF. And Goelji's session has triggered new inspiration among all the students that listen to him, particularly today. and anybody could be innovator, because sometimes somebody is saying that I used to think that only intelligent PhDs could innovate, but as you said, some examples of people who have not gone beyond high school have done innovation and gone national awards. So this reiterated the hypothesis to the title that you proposed, that anybody could be an innovator. So it has been a quite inspirational talk, Goel sir, for sparing your valuable time, and Bipinji, thank you for facilitating. I mean, NIF has done commendable work. I have been a part of the entire movement, and now we will explore how we can take it to more grounded efforts involving the government, and with guidance and blessings of all of you, I'm sure this movement can further become inclusive, and whatever is required from the government of Gujarat point of view, will certainly make efforts to take it to the next mile and the last mile. Thank you, Goel sir, Dr. Goel, for joining today. Thank you, Dr. Bipin Kumar, for facilitating this interaction, and we will take this movement hand in hand and make India an inclusive nation. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you very much. Thanks, all the people. So many people are listening. So thank all of you, and particularly to you, Mr. Hinmay Mehtaji, and also Mr. Nagarajan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.